Hello everyone. This video will discuss two events in which Thor fights Juggernaut, but with some major differences in their scales of power between the two events. In Thor Volume 5, Number 1, published in 2018, Thor is once more the god of thunder, but he is still unworthy of lifting Mjolnir. The book opens in Thailand, with Thor carrying an item and running out of Sidorak's temple, chased by a cult of Sidorak-worshipping cannibals. Thor recalls how Mjolnir was lost in the epic battle between Mangog and Jane Foster, the former Thor. To defeat the monster, Jane clung Mjolnir to unbreakable chains, forged by the dwarves of Nidavellir, to bind the wolf Fenris, then tossed Mjolnir and Mangog into the sun. Thor decides to fight the cult, remarking that when Asgardia exploded during the battle with Mangog, the most dangerous items of power scattered in all the realms, including the Warlock's Eye, the ancient weapon of mind control, which fell to earth, and was found by the disciples of Sidorak. Thor hoped to reclaim the eye from their temple without too much bloodshed, only to be interrupted by bloodshed itself, namely the Juggernaut, who tells Thor that he heard that he became a woman, referring to Jane Foster. But Thor tells Juggernaut to stand aside, or he will bear the consequences. Juggernaut says that since he became Sidorak's champion on Earth again, he becomes more powerful than ever, especially when he is standing in his temple, while Thor doesn't even wield his hammer. Thor explains that he came for the Warlock's Eye, to take it back to Asgard where it belongs, but Juggernaut tells Thor that the eye is going nowhere, because it will be used to conquer the world. Thor tells Juggernaut to listen, but Juggernaut responds with a powerful punch that knocks Thor to the bottom, where the cannibals seemingly throw the remains of their victims. Thor contacts Screwbeard the dwarf, and tells him that he is in a critical situation, and needs a hammer immediately, even if not tested yet. Screwbeard sends Thor a hammer similar to Mjolnir, but definitely not as powerful, yet enough to charge Thor with some power. Thor attacks Juggernaut and hits him hard, only to get the hammer shattered on Juggernaut's helmet. Juggernaut hits Thor, but Thor responds with another punch, remarking that Juggernaut indeed became stronger than ever. Thor tells Screwbeard that the hammer shattered, and demands to send more, while Juggernaut pounds on Thor and knocks him down with great force. The hammers fall down and land in the battlefield, where the disciples realize that these hammers are not the real Mjolnir, and wonder if they could lift any of them, but they fail, because they are unworthy of Thor's power. The hammers blast Juggernaut and the disciples, while Thor lifts a huge hammer and hits the dizzy Juggernaut with great force, knocking him unconscious. Thor then takes the Warlock's Eye and goes back to Asgard, telling Screwbeard that the fight was fierce, but he won and reclaimed the eye. In The Mighty Thor, Volume 2, Number 17, published in 1999, Thor fights Juggernaut in an epic battle, presenting Chapter 1 of the Eighth-Day story. The book opens with Thor crashing in New York, and lying unconscious after getting blasted away in the previous book by the enchanter known as Enrakt, who proves powerful enough to control Mjolnir and to use it as a weapon against Thor. Enrakt tells Thor that his brothers are about to kill Odin in Asgard, and that their vengeance will be fulfilled with Thor's death, before commanding Thor to kneel, but Thor does not yield, and responds with hurling Mjolnir at the enchanter, who catches the hammer, fills it with energy, then hurls it back at Thor. Enrakt prepares to teleport to Asgard to join his brothers in killing Odin, while Thor vows to follow the enchanter to the end of the universe. But as he prepares to open a portal to leave Earth, he notices rampaging taking place in the city, with crumbling brick and steel, and escalating sound of screams and gunfire, and smell of smoke and destruction, filling the air. The Juggernaut breaks into the scene, forcing Thor to forget about Enrakt at the moment, and to rush to stop the unstoppable. Thor blasts Juggernaut, who does not even budge, before hitting him hard with the hammer, but Juggernaut stands his ground, remarking that no one can stop him. Although Thor pounds on Juggernaut with blows powerful enough to make the ground tremble, Juggernaut does not budge, as he got even more powerful than ever before, and Juggernaut tells Thor that he indeed feels more powerful than ever, as if something is making him that way, taking him somewhere, and he will march through anything or any man to get there. For the first time ever, Juggernaut feels that he can cut loose, and to crush even a god like Thor, who says that Juggernaut looks insane and out of his mind. Juggernaut hits Thor hard, before tossing him into the wall, telling him to shut up. From under the debris, Thor says that Juggernaut's power has increased 100-fold, and wonders how he can defeat him. From Asgard, and through the flames of truth, Loki watches Thor fighting Juggernaut, and recalls how Cain Marco gained the power of Sitarak, when he found the mystical gem in a long-forgotten temple in Korea. But Sitarak has brothers, who also have human followers, just like Marco. In Northern Ireland, a new exemplar has emerged. A woman named Bridget Malone, who fought all her life against the harshness of poverty and prejudice, and found herself drawn by psychic summons to a long-hidden area, where she found the kestrel key of Karakan, and now her fierce anger is matched by her ability in every form of combat, becoming Conquest, the living embodiment of battle. Another exemplar appears in Kenya this time. Her name is Olisa Kabaki, who was fond of knowledge, but hampered by medication she had to take for a mental disorder. She follows voices she used to hear in her mind, and comes upon the ivory of Icon, becoming Bedlam, the avatar of mind and madness. Back in Manhattan, Thor pounds on Juggernaut with all his might, but Juggernaut proves unstoppable, and puts Thor in a deadly bear hug, remarking that he must follow the call, and nothing will stop him from doing that, while Thor can't break free from the mighty hold, stating that it has become difficult to breathe, and starts to lose consciousness, and maybe life itself. But before Juggernaut finishes Thor, Bedlam and Conquest suddenly appear, remarking that time is short, and that they must travel far. They separate Juggernaut and Thor before tossing the latter away. Thor can't believe how powerful these exemplars are, while Conquest warns him that she will brutally kill him if he tries to mess with them again, before they all teleport away. So in the first event, the unworthy Thor, who didn't have Mjolnir on his side, defeated a fully powered Juggernaut and reclaimed Warlock's Eye, while in the second event, Eighth-Day Juggernaut crushed a fully powered Thor, who perhaps was somehow weakened from his fight with Enrakt, but that was not mentioned in the book at all. The Eighth-Day storyline tells how the 8 great mystic entities entered into the wager of the Octessence to determine who among them was the most powerful. Each of them created a totem, which held a fraction of their vast power, and would transform the first human who touched into an exemplar, a living embodiment of that power. The entities had temples created to house their totems, and once a mortal became an exemplar, a spell would be triggered, drawing others to the temples, creating 8 exemplars in total. It's worth mentioning that Eighth Day is widely considered as the second most powerful Juggernaut's persona, only next to Tryon Juggernaut. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Thanks for watching, and have a nice one.